Hi, everybody. So today we're going to talk about going from being a sugar burner to a fat burner. So this may help with a lot of people who are having issues with weight gain or weight that won't come off. So what I've experienced through Ascension is that we've had a lot of exhaustion, a lot of depletion of minerals, and a lot of your body's been going through all these processes of changing from carbon-based to crystalline-based and not necessarily taking care of some of the other processes. One of those is the letting go of weight. Now, this video may be triggering if you are vegan or you eat meat or you don't like to hear about products. So I have been vegan. I am eating meat right now because I needed to for my body. And I am going to talk about products. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I'm using. So if that bothers you, then this video isn't, for you. If you're triggered by it, I don't want to hear about it in the comments. So that's basically what I'm saying. Because this has triggered a lot of people in the past, but hopefully we're starting to come out of that. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue on. So as far as health stuff, a lot of people have had some pretty severe health things going on during the ascension process, if not some sort of major fatigue. So for me, it's been pretty major fatigue, but I think that was also triggered by not having enough minerals to start with. So one of the things that I really incorporated was burdock root. So burdock root, I can't say enough good things about that. And I would definitely look into that for yourself if you're feeling like you don't have enough minerals. So a lot of us have had, especially if you're a woman, because the woman's body is slightly more complicated, especially hormonally. So things get off kilter a little bit easier. And the food that we've been eating has not necessarily helped with that. So we will have a cleaner food supply. And I think that's in process, but I don't think it's done. So it's important to still be careful with your food. Get as much locally grown stuff as you can, organic, use your intuition when picking food. And then you can also transmute the food. So praying over food is actually a great way to transmute the food itself. And just saying, I only want what's good for me to land in my body, and the rest of it, I want it to leave my body. So just to process through and not leave any residue. But there are certain things you just want to be careful with. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and where some of my health things came from. And these are moving through. Now, of course, I'm choking. So who knows why my body doesn't want to talk about it. That's so funny. Anyway, so I'm doing better. I just took a drink of water. We're going to talk about the adrenals to start with. So I've had issues in the past, body. So it's really important not to own anything. Don't own your illnesses, because then you say that, you're basically keeping them. So don't own them. Just say they're passing through. This is a passing phase. I'm not keeping it. Okay, so we're having a massive storm right now. So the energies, the winds of change, when they move, you get kind of like energetically, you can feel it. So what I'm going to talk about is, as a child, I lived in a farming community, and they used to spray the crops all the time. And we actually lived in a canyon, so I think a lot of our water was contaminated with that as well. So I don't think that the gut flora was very good in my body. And I spent a lot of time in the hospitals and in the clinics with like life-threatening asthma. So at that time, what they did is they would just give you adrenaline. So I don't think my adrenals have been necessarily functioning up to par for most of my life. So that's what I'm working on mainly, is the adrenals, and also letting go of a lot of carbohydrates. Now, when I was in my 30s, I decided to quit drinking milk, and I went heavily into soy-based products. Now, when I did that, my thyroid failed. So I had Hashimoto's disease. So when I went to the naturopathic doctor, she put me on what was called a elimination diet. So basically all I could eat was rice, beans, turkey, butter. Like there wasn't much that I could eat. So I was eating the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But after a few weeks, all the asthma went away. So the two things that I was heavily in love with as a child, which is a common thing if your kid really wants something, almost like they're addicted to it, it's giving them a high. So milk and wheat were off the table. And obviously soy was off the table for me too, because of what it did to my hormonal system. So that's basically where I was with that in my 30s. And it took me a long time to recover. I would say probably 5 years almost to come out of that, because my body was so depleted. And I used a lot of castor oil packs. I studied nutrition, so I am certified in being a nutritional consultant. I studied a whole lot about parasites, and that was one of the things that I did in my 30s to get well. And I spent a lot of money at the naturopathic doctor. So where are we now? We are coming out of being vegan. So I'm probably about 6 to 8 months of being completely done with being vegan, and all the vegan products like cashew cheese, which I loved it. Cashew butter, so butter made from cashew milk. All those nuts, they really kind of interfere because of the leptins, I think they're called. But anyway, the nuts don't really want you eating them. That's the seed for the plant, the next plant. So they have a defense mechanism. So beans, nuts, those are kind of hard on you. So they need to go through certain processes before you eat them. And I wouldn't really be eating them in massive excess either. So what am I doing food-wise? I'm going to show you. Okay, so if I'm eating, especially something with more carbs in it, then a lot of times I'll take a fiber. So I'll have a little bit of fiber right before, and you want to get one that's really good for your body, one that's not so hard on it, okay? Some of those fibers are really rough, and I would start slow and just do maybe half of what they're saying at first. I'm still eating organic fruit, and I eat unsweetened like jam and stuff. I'll have a little bit of that on my sourdough toast in the morning. So no yeast, no sugar. And that's cane sugar I'm talking about. I use a lot of monk fruit, and I use, sometimes I'll eat dates, or I'll put them in some sort of candy. I don't really like stevia that much. It kind of has a bitter taste. So most of my stuff would be like coconut sugar, dates, or date sugar, but whole dates are better. because they have the fiber. And then monk fruit, because monk fruit has no effect on your blood sugar. And I don't really like the alcohol sugar that they pair it with quite a bit, so I just get pure monk fruit. So most of my life I've been pretty allergic to cow's milk. So the protein in cow's milk, which is called casein, is kind of hard to digest. It's a very large protein, and I don't think that the human digestive system was really set up for that. So cows have 4 stomachs, which most of you guys know. And when I was in, I don't remember what it was, but we went on a field trip in high school with 4-H. They had a horrible thing, which was a cork, basically. It screwed into the side of a cow, and people were able to see the stomach, like inside the stomach. Just awful. So that really irritated me as a kid. I think I was about 16. However, so what am I doing instead of cow's milk? I am doing sheep milk yogurt. So this has, and I get the plain so that I can sweeten it. It has 6 grams of carbs and 10 grams of protein. So you can do a lot of stuff with plain yogurt. You can use it like sour cream. You can just do all kinds of stuff. You can add it to your baking, and that really works. We now, instead of almond milk, use goat milk. And it tells you how to reconstitute it with warm water. And we use this instead. And this is like $30. And it is way less expensive than buying almond milk all the time, which almond milk has a lot of additives in it that are not necessarily good for you. And then one of the other things that I'm doing is protein from goat milk. So this company I like, but there are other companies. So I get most of my stuff from Amazon because I live far from town. So a lot of the stuff I have to have delivered. So I'm lucky to get to town once a week. And as you guys know, I'm doing stuff all the time, working. So I just don't get there as often. And I don't really think that the town that I go to, which is fairly small, would have all of this stuff either. I don't think they have goat milk powder. So those are the things that I use, along with grass-fed beef, turkey sometimes. What else? And bison is actually the meat that I've found that my body likes the best. So my body does the best on that. And I don't eat as much meat as I did because I'm getting more glutathione from another source. So I will share that with you here in a sec. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you guys about some of the supplements that I'm taking, and then I'm going to talk about the principle of what I'm doing too. So the things that I'm taking for my digestive system, I'm taking this Flora Biome, and I'll put all the links below, all the ones that I can find. So Flora Biome, and that tastes like beer. It is fermented and it has prebiotics and probiotics in it. So it's actually really good. It also has a postbiotic. I've been taking this. This is the 3rd bottle, and it has done wonders for my digestion. So there's that. And then this works really well. It's called Digestiva. And the main ingredient is triphalia. So what that does is it keeps everything moving through your body. So if you eat a lot of protein and you don't eat the fiber, if you forget the fiber, if you don't get enough water, things can get kind of stuck. So we don't want that happening. I still take vitamin D, and K2. And this came in a bag, so I stuck it in a jar. I don't take it every day, but I take it when I don't sun gaze. So today we have a massive storm outside. Not sun gazing today. So that's not happening. I have a lot of mushrooms in my coffee. So I put lion's mane in my coffee. I use a mushroom coffee. So I will put that below. And what am I doing for my adrenals and my body just to get them back up to snuff? I will show you. So I'm taking this. This is an adrenal supplement. This comes from the cow, grass-fed cow, okay? And it has helped tremendously. I am taking a turmeric supplement. And I put that in my coffee. So you do not want to put this just in your mouth. Doesn't taste good. I put it in my coffee. I barely notice it. And it's really helped the initial peppiness of my body in the morning. I take a fermented B complex. So that's really been important to rebuild the kidneys and the adrenals. And I take this in the afternoon. So after 12, I take this. And this is good for rebuilding the body and anti-aging. And I take this right around 10 a.m. So this is homeopathic. And there are a couple things that I actually promote because they work. And one of them is LifeWave. So I am rebuilding and anti-aging my body with LifeWave patches. And glutathione is one of the patches. So I don't need to eat as much meat. I don't crave it. My body doesn't crave it as much if I use this patch. And this is pretty inexpensive. But the whole thing is this is photo light therapy. So this is like an in-between, I believe. So an in-between between regular 3D stuff and the med bed, because med beds are all about frequency and light. So this is phototherapy, which is light therapy. So I'm doing those. And then the other thing that I do is root brands. So silica, which I'll probably do a show just about skin later. Silica is really important for collagen production. This also removes heavy metals, so that's important. And there are other things that do that too, but this does it in a very non-intense way from the body. So it pulls it from the body without a lot of like stress on the body itself. So why am I doing all this crazy stuff? I have been tired for years, and I actually feel better than I have probably since 2013 right now. So for the last 11 years, I've been tired. And I think that that has to do with adrenals being depleted. I had a very high stress job. And then I went into being vegan where I didn't get enough nutrients because I was too busy to create the proper food. Because I worked about 60 hours a week. And honestly, when I started doing this, I was working at least that much, maybe more. Now I am paring it down. So I am trying to pay attention to my own body. So we really need that. We need to pay attention to our own bodies. Ask our body, what does it need? It's so important because that's your vehicle here. That's how you're here, is because you have a beautiful body that is carrying your consciousness and your soul. So your inner child and your soul consciousness. That's what's going on here. Now, products that I've been using for years that have helped me are the Amethyst Biomat. I have a portable sauna, infrared sauna, which I don't have room for at the moment, so I'm not really in it as much as I would like to be. But those kind of things are very, very helpful. Castor oil packs are very helpful. They actually keep pulling stuff from your body. And it's another thing that I'll probably talk about with skin. Castor oil is amazing. So those things are things I've been using for years. As far as exercise, I'm just beginning because I want to make sure my adrenals are up to it, because exercise can be seen as stress by the body. So what I am doing is I'm on what's called the vibration plate. So you stand on it and it rocks you back and forth, and that's for your lymphatic system. So to drain all the lymphatics and all that garbage, because that's your waste system. Okay, so I paused and I don't know where I left off. Okay, so some of the other things I'm doing are for exercise. So exercise, I'm being careful with that. Make sure I'm recording. And one of the things I'm using is a vibration plate. So it wiggles your body and it helps the lymphatic system work. I will probably be getting into what's called the gua sha. So I'll talk about that when I do the skin thing. So that I'll get rid of, you know, all this going on. But the gua sha helps the lymph move out of the face. And you can also use it on your body. So you can basically chase the lymphatic system down through the body so it can drain, which is really important. And the other thing that I'm doing is weight bearing. So I'm just starting that. So you want to do some exercises that will encourage your body to gain muscle so that it burns fat. So let's see, what am I doing? Hang on, my throat is going. So I'm doing things like I've got weights. So I just bought dumbbells because I can't find the ones that we brought with us to this place. A lot of our stuff is still packed because we moved into a much smaller space. Also, I have those bands. So I've been using those. And the most important muscle to really work on is the gluteus maximus. So if you can do squats and you can do different exercises that are going to hold your hips in place, you actually are growing that muscle, which is the biggest muscle in the body. And that is going to help burn fat. So if weight loss is your goal, then I would do that. Even if not, I would do some weight bearing exercise. It's just really good for your bones. But what else is there? Let me think about it. Okay, so the main thing as far as like my day-to-day process is to try and eat at least 30 grams of protein per meal. Now, I'm not as hungry now, so I'm probably only eating 2 meals a day. And I'm going to try and get at least 40 to 50 grams of protein. So it doesn't leave a whole lot of room for carbohydrates. I do still eat a special bread from the Berlin Bakery, and I order it through the mail because the health food store doesn't have it all, and I store it in the freezer. But it is very few ingredients, and it's made with spelt flour versus wheat flour. So it really doesn't bother any of my body. And it's sourdough, so there's no yeast. So yeast and sugar are probably the main things that I would get rid of. And try cooking your own food. Make as much of your own food as you can and minimally process, you know, less processed food. because crackers are like cardboard to your body. Chips have seed oils all over them. Seed oils are another thing I'd get rid of. So the oils that I use are coconut oil, olive oil, but not heated. To be warm, but not heated up. And then also avocado oil. You want to be so careful with that because a lot of it's not real. So if you're going to use avocado oil, I would probably pick one of the more expensive ones, unfortunately. And olive oil is the same. So I don't know exactly what to recommend there, but I'll look for some of the oils that I use. And coconut oil is the main one. So I eat a lot of eggs in the morning. I use ghee instead of butter, and you can actually get goat milk ghee. Sheep products. So we eat a lot of goat cheese now. A lot of salt. Oh, that's what I was going to do. That's why I paused. Salt. Okay, so I use Baja Gold sea salt. This is not expensive. I will put the link below. It has no additives. And it is finely ground, which I like because I don't want to deal with grinding it. So I put this in my water in the morning, and I will have a glass of water with salt in the morning. That's the first thing that I do. And it really does help. So it will start to rehydrate your body. I think some of the things that they really screwed around with for your body is they replaced the good fats with bad fats, so seed oils and rancid things. They told us not to eat salt, which is actually very good for you as long as you have genuine salt, not something they added stuff to. And we were talking about, you know, the not so nice guys who used to be in charge. They're not in charge anymore. And that's kind of it. Like the goat milk, I think is really important. They also steered us away from animal products. And that was done on purpose too, to basically drop the muscular form of the body. So people are much less healthy and they have less muscle mass if they don't eat enough protein. So you can get that with certain diets that, you know, I would say are a little harder, but you have to really focus on it. So keep that in mind. And the things I've shown you today, they're fairly easy to get. I get them at natural grocers generally because that's the health food store we have close by. But really, this stuff isn't that hard to get. So the other things that I'm going to put in this series, and I'm probably going to have somebody join me, so I don't like talking so long. I probably will be talking about the eyes, so eyesight, because I discovered something interesting. And I'm going to be talking about just health stuff in general, but I will probably have somebody extra with me because I tend to go pretty fast when I'm by myself. And I don't like pausing because then I forget that I paused and I keep talking. So I hope you guys have a beautiful day. I hope this helps you if you're really exhausted. So if you're tired, minerals are the key. So you can, like, sea salt is important. Burdock root is important. You can get sea minerals. Just get a full spectrum of minerals, and that will start to help the body because that is part of the electrical system of the body. Okay. All right. You guys have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.